Notice that I am using a version 4.3.0. If you're not seeing this, you can go on to Edit, Preferences, and within the interface, you're going to be able to go on to Status Bar. Within here, I do recommend you enabling every single one of them. It will give you all of this information on the bottom right-hand corner, one of which is going to be the version. So at the very bottom right-hand corner, you see 4.3.0. That's the version we are using for the Blender file. But again, this also allows us to see like the amount of objects within the scene, as well as the current memory usage for the program. All of which is a really good information to have. Now, once we have the Blender file opened up, we're going to be introduced with the basics, camera, cube, and the lighting source. We're going to go over the basics of viewport navigation first, and then we're going to start working within the scene. So that's going to be it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and in the next lesson, we're going to start working with the gray box.
Welcome everyone to the basics of Blender navigation. Now before we begin, it's important to understand how the axes work within Blender. So we can see at the moment we've got a green line going this way and a red line going this way. This is called the y-axis and this one is called the x-axis. We also have one that is the z-axis, which we can't see right now. It doesn't actually come in with Blender viewport as default, but if you want to actually set it on, you just come up to the top right hand side where these two interlocking balls are and just click the Z axis, and now we can actually see that. So how do we actually move around the Blender viewport? There's a number of ways of doing this. One of them is over on the right hand side here. You can see if I hover over here, it says zoom in and zoom out. I can actually left click and move these up and down then to zoom in and zoom out, or I can use the actual mouse to actually zoom in and zoom out using the actual scroll wheel. There's also another thing you can do with zoom, which is holding Control Shift and pressing the middle mouse, and you'll see you have a lot more control over zooming in and zooming out. Now the next thing we want to discuss is actually rotating around an object. So how to do that? First of all, we'll bring in a cube with Shift A, bring in a cube. Now if I press the middle mouse button and move my mouse left to right, you can see we can actually rotate around. Unfortunately though, we're not actually rotating around this cube. So to actually fix that, we need to center our view onto the actual cube. We basically want to focus our view onto this actual cube. So to do that, we're just going to press the little dot button on the actual number pad, and then you'll see that we actually zoom in to the cube. Now if I scroll my mouse wheel out, you will see now if I hold the middle mouse button and turn left and right, we're actually rotating then around the cube. And this is important because if I actually bring in another cube, so if I duplicate this cube with Shift D, move it over, so bring in my move gizmo, and now you'll see if I rotate around this cube, I'm not rotating around this one. So to fix that, I just press the dot button again, zoom out, and now I can actually rotate around this cube as well. Now let's look at something called panning, which means that we're actually going to move left and right, and we do this by holding the Shift button, holding the middle mouse, and then we can actually scroll left and right around our actual viewport. So now we've actually discovered how to zoom in and the different ways we can actually do that, how to rotate around an object, and how to actually pan. We can also come up to the top right hand side here and use these buttons here. So again, remember, we're looking at the y-axis, the x-axis, and the z-axis. If we come to our y-axis and click that on, you will see now that you've got a front view of the y-axis. If you click the x-axis, then we can change it to that red x-axis, and finally the z-axis as well. Now there are other ways as well that we can actually look around the viewport, and these involve using the actual number pad. So if I press 1 on my number pad, it's going to take me into that y-axis or front view. If I press 2, it's going to actually rotate that slightly, and if I press 2 again, it's going to rotate it slightly more. Now if I press the 8, it will rotate it the other way as well. Now to go into the side view or the x-axis, we can also press 3 on the number pad, and that will give us that effect. We can also press 7 to go over the top as well. Now what about if we actually want to go to the opposite? So instead of going from the bird's eye view, we want to come to the underside of our model. Well, that's actually quite easy as well. All you need to do is press Ctrl 7, and that then will take you to the bottom view of our actual model. We can also do the same in side view and on the x-axis and y-axis. So for instance, if I press 1, I'm going to be going into the y-axis. If I press Control 1, I'm going to be going into the opposite side on the actual y-axis. Now you can also find these options, just in case you forget, at the top left hand side here under view. So if I go down to view and go to across the viewport, you can see here that this actually tells me exactly what I need to press to get the viewpoint that I've just actually explained. Now we also have the button on the number pad, which is number 5. And number 5 button in Blender toggles between perspective and orthographic views. Perspective view offers a more natural and realistic viewpoint, with objects appearing smaller as they get further away, mimicking human vision. Orthographic view removes perspective distortion, making all objects appear at their true size regardless of distance. Useful for precision modeling and technical work. The other thing that number 5 does, for instance, if I come to my cube, at the moment I am able to actually zoom into the cube. However, if I press number 5, I will not be able to actually zoom into this cube no matter how far I zoom in. I'll still be able to move around it by pressing the little dot button, like so. But if I actually want to actually work on the inside of an object, I can quickly press number 5 and then I can actually go in and work around the inside as well. Now, if you're working on a laptop or something like that, or a tablet, and it doesn't actually have a number pad, you can also use, if I press 5, the actual squiggle key, which is under the escape button on the left hand side of your keyboard, and that then will give you pretty much the same options as we had before. So we can click the right view, we can actually click the back view, and we can click the left view, for instance, the opposite to what we had before. So instead of pressing 1 and 3, we just press the little squiggle line, and then we can actually view whichever side we need to. Now we're nearly at the end of this short introduction. There are a couple more things that you can actually do. If you come over to the right hand side and you see here where we've actually got the name of the actual parts within our scene, we can also grab them from here and then press the little dot button to zoom in. So I can grab this one, press the little dot button, and that then will zoom us in. The other great thing about this is we can also come in, shift select them both, press the little dot button, and then we're able to actually rotate around both of these cubes. Alright everyone, so I hope you enjoyed this short introduction to the navigation within Blender, and I hope from now on it won't be a struggle navigating around the viewport. Thanks a lot everyone, cheers.